for the game. George Odom will be out. Greenlaw's out. Trent Williams is out. Jordan Mason is out. Nick Bosa is doubtful. Flanagan Fowles questionable. Aaron Banks questionable. Huff is questionable. Go ahead.
With Nick being doubtful and not out, does that mean that he was able to do a little bit more this week?
Yes, he did a little bit more.
Does Banks still have steps to take protocol?
Yes.
How did Brock look in practice? I guess it's his first full week back in full participation, and what are you expecting out of him?
He's good. I mean, we had to wait a while to give him a rest to make sure it healed, and we could see that it did at the end of last week, and that's why there's no issues on last Sunday, and it's been great all week. So glad to get him back to full speed and get him full week of practice.
What were your thoughts on Ben Barch's first start for you last week?
I thought he did a good job. We're excited to get him to play with us. He hadn't yet. We've had him here for a little bit over a year, and for his first game, I thought he did a real good job.
I know he had that pretty severe knee dislocation in 22. Was last year a matter of just like building back strength still from that?
I think so a little bit. When we got him, I thought he was pretty good, and he didn't have any injuries, and he didn't have a need to play him. But we felt fortunate to get him, and he got to learn our offense a little bit, and he's been real good here through the offseason.
What was Brandon Staley's role this season? How has that developed, and have you been happy with what he's added?
Yeah, I think Brandon's done a real good job. He helps us out in all types of areas. Works with the nickels probably the most. Real good at helping Nick with the game plan and stuff like that. Does our ball meeting. So.
Has he helped develop elements of the defense, or has it still been mostly the stuff that you've been doing?
I think we have different wrinkles and stuff each year. I want to say that's just Nick. That's stuff we do as a group, but Nick's been a part of that group.
The nickel plan Sunday in Buffalo, it seemed like you had multiple nickels going throughout the day.
Yeah, we had some injury situations, so we knew Deebo couldn't play, so we had a first and second down nickel, and then we had a third down nickel.
First and second down nickel, is that just a bigger player? Is McLeod sort of a bigger nickel for that?
No, just Renardo was a little banged up too, and he had a sore neck from the week before, so we don't want to put too much inside on him.
Deebo's numbers clearly haven't been there this season. Do you attribute that to just kind of a trickle down for the whole offense, or are there things that he could be doing better?
I think we all could be doing things better, but I think it's more trickle down from the whole offense. He hasn't had as many opportunities for the big play. He's had a couple that he just missed where you hit those, and it makes a big difference just in terms of the perception of numbers. But I think it's more trickle down to the whole offense.
In big games like the playoffs, get Deebo the ball. You can see that in your head almost sometimes. Have you had the same feelings this season, and has been frustrating not to be able to see him make those big plays?
Yeah, I think it's been frustrating with everything on offense, and especially these last few weeks. Would like to get Deebo going more, and hopefully we can find a way to do that here in these next 5 games.
There's been struggles in situational football on both sides of the ball. As a coach, what can you do to kind of emphasize that or get better at that?
Most of it's schematic answers and stuff, which definitely don't want to talk about in here, but that's all you emphasize. Numbers wise and stuff, you can have some decent numbers, but if your numbers aren't good in situational football, you're rarely going to lead to many points. And points are what it takes to win the game. So stuff we emphasize all the time, stuff we're trying to get better at, challenging guys at, and challenging ourselves schematically also.
You guys, I know you don't want to pay attention to what's being said, but you look at it mathematically, it's tough. You look at the conversation about where the 49ers are. Do you sense the mood, or do you want the mood locker room to be kind of like denial of that anger, or acceptance that this is a tough spot that you're in?
We understand where we're at. So, it's we go to work and we practice football. We don't discuss it all week. We don't read all week. I get all that. I understand how the NFL works. I understand what our record's at. We knew coming into this year we were going to have to work to, I didn't feel there right after training camp. I thought we had a chance, though, to get better as the year went, especially at the beginning of our schedule, which I thought was a lot easier than the second half. I thought we would improve and kind of build that as we went, and I was hoping we could be 8-2 when we got to the tough stretch. And I've talked about those 3 games, which I feel we should have won, that we let get away from us, and that got us to 5-5. And then right when we got at the toughest part, where I was hoping we would have had some continuity and developed into the team that I thought could really make a run and push some things. That's when we subtracted a lot of guys from us, and we're kind of at our toughest spot. And that's where we are now, which when you don't take advantage of kind of what you had earlier in the year and you are in a tough spot, that's why it makes it extremely hard to get out of. So like I said earlier in the week, we got to do some special things to get out of this hole we put ourselves in, and we understand that. But, we can talk about it every day. We have to come to a press conference or talk about it outside of here. But when it's with each other, it's how to play better football, how to find a way to get a win, and that usually only comes down to playing better football.
Lynch on the radio today, you can't get your ass kicked 2 weeks in a row and not respond. And he wants to see a response that's up to you guys' standards. Do you have any doubt about this team's ability to respond in that way?
Yeah, of course we want to respond. We've been on the road 2 weeks in a row where we've given up over 100 yards rushing in the first half, and we've had 6 turnovers in 2 games. And when that happens, you're going to get your ass kicked like we did. I want to go out there. I want to stop the run. I want to not turn the ball over. And if that does, we'll have a football game. And if we can get it into a football game, I like our chances of winning, and I like our team to do that.
The struggle for so many. Go ahead.
Getting back to you saying that you thought that you might be 8-2, is that something that you do every year?
No, it's not that I thought we should have been 8-2. Yeah, we were 5-5, and I believe there was 3 games that we let get away that we should have won. That doesn't mean that we've been much of a different team at 8-2 than 5-5, but it's how you improve as the year goes.
Do you do that every year, sort of map out how you think it might go?
No, I didn't. I don't. I didn't really do that this year. I'm just saying I know where our team's at after training camp, and I know where I want to be. And I thought we could get there as it got to a harder part of our schedule, and we didn't take advantage of the easier part of our schedule, is what I'm saying, with those 3 games. And when we did get to it, we weren't in a place to give ourselves some cushion, because I thought we were wounded when we got to the harder part, and that was a challenge we put ourselves in.
What was your level of concern at the end of training camp then, with all the injuries and everything that happened at that point?
I just knew we weren't where I wanted to be, which rarely you are exactly at the beginning of the year. That's why you play, and that's why you get better as it goes, and that's what I was planning to do. That's always the goal. We weren't able to consistently do that. It seemed like every time we took a step forward, we took 2 steps back, and that was kind of how it went. And once you lose some close games, ones you think you should have won, that's the difference between being 5-5 at the halfway point and being 8-2 at the halfway point from a record standpoint, not just the overall where your team's at.
It's such a struggle for a lot of people, but one person it seems has been impervious to it all is George Kittle. He's been so productive and upbeat. Like, how important is it to have a leader like him on your team?
That's just George's personality. He's always upbeat, but I do think he's had a hell of a year. He's been able to stay healthy, too. He's missed 2 games, I believe, which were obviously tough without him. But I've just been proud of how he's taken care of himself, the way he comes to work every single day. And I love being around George and love having him on our team.
Gary Kubiak was here today. Was it more business or pleasure? And he's a guy I'm sure you admire. Do you bend a guy like that to ear and talk football with him?
Not really. I'm close with Koob. He gave me a big start, gave me my first position job and coordinator job a long time ago. Known him most of my life, and he's here, I think, visiting his son and his granddaughter. And probably it's nice to get out of the house a little bit every once in a while and come watch some football. So he's welcome up here anytime.
Did you babysit for him?
Kinda. I wasn't a very good babysitter. So usually when people say that, it was more because I was around and my younger sister did it for me.
Gauntlet the last 2 weeks on the road. You have obviously an opponent coming up that's been struggling. How do you keep the guys motivated and not taking this week lightly, basically?
Because we don't see Chicago any different than these last 2 teams we played. I know their record's not the same, but there's a fine line between your record and what a team's capable of. This team was 4-2, would have been 5-2 if they didn't give up a Hail Mary. They had 2 bad games, which led them to 4-4. And then they played 3 of the best teams in the NFL and lost by a total of 7 points. And the film is very real, and all you got to do is have them see the film, which I showed first thing Wednesday morning, and that's all you need to get their attention.